Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I appreciate my colleague saying we should not ignore established law. So, Mr. Mix, isn't it a fact that the established law that's at issue here is the Taft-Hartley Act and the provision that it has that says that states can choose to enact their own right-to-work laws, and those right-to-work laws are enforceable? Isn't that the established law that's in issue today?
Yeah, that's right. Section 14B is one of those unique sections that allow a state to get out from under the federal preemption as it relates to the National Labor Relations Act and allow them to outlaw union security agreements that require workers to pay dues or fees to get a job.
And taking briefs in this case, as the Labor Board is doing, seems to me to be an effort to go right in the teeth of what that established law says by saying, well, we're not going to make you join the union, but since the union has to represent you in the grievance process, whether you want them to or not, we're going to make you an individual citizen of this country. We're going to force you to pay that union to do that. Isn't that an end run around the established Taft-Hartley law?
Absolutely. I think the briefs and cases since that time indicate that very fact.
And so isn't the real issue here today that we've got this 800-ton gorilla, the big unions in America, that want to throw their weight around and take freedom and liberty away from individual citizens like Mr. Hewitt and force them to pay these unions money because the unions are losing membership and they're losing money. Isn't that what this is really all about?
I think so.
So, Mr. Chairman, we come to these things and I hear people say, well, we don't know what the Labor Board's going to do. I know what the Labor Board's going to do. Every time we come in here, we say, we don't know what they're going to do. We all know what they're going to do. They got 3 people on that board going to do whatever the labor unions want them to do. Now, heretofore, what they've done, Mr. Mix, I think, is they've changed precedent as established by case law by the Labor Board. This, however, would be going into the teeth of a congressional statute. Isn't that a difference?
That's correct. I think the courts have ruled and briefs have ruled that in order for this to be changed, you've got to come to Congress.
And what they're trying to do is go around Congress because they know that we're not going to do what they want them to do. I was listening to the testimony from Mr. Bruno. Mr. Bruno, you said that businesses don't cite right-to-work laws as reasons to locate a business. I have talked with dozens and dozens and dozens of businesses who have considered coming to the state of Alabama, a right-to-work state. Every time they mention 2 things. They never talk to me about incentives, by the way. They talk about the quality of your workforce, and I'm proud to say we've got great workers in Alabama, as I know you do, Governor, in Nebraska. And the second thing they say is your labor laws, particularly the fact that you're a right-to-work state. Where in the world are you getting your information that business people don't take that into account?
Well, thank you, Congressman. So there is a business magazine referred to as Area Development Magazine, and there is an annual survey that's done of corporations in which CEOs are asked about decisions to relocate their businesses, and there are up to 30, 40 different factors that are usually mentioned. And according to the research that I've done looking at, and others have, that labor policy, right to work, rarely ranks higher than 16 or 17. What ranks much more...
And why are all these people, why are the states, you just heard the chairman give the data, why are these states that have right to work laws, why are they growing? Why is employment going in those states and not in the states that don't have right to work laws?
Well, actually, it's not completely true that states that have collective bargaining agreements or that are collective bargaining states aren't growing. Just to use Illinois again, Illinois actually created more jobs than its neighbors did in the past fiscal year.
We're running out of time, but please send me that.
So there's lots of...
I'm going to go to the Economic Development Conference in my state in a few weeks here, and I'm going to show them your research. I can't wait to see their reaction. The last thing I want to go over with you. You said that wages are going down for people in right-to-work states. Go look at Alabama's data. Since we've shed unions, our workers' wages have gone steadily up. And our workers are voting with their feet by going to these employers that are non-unionized because they're better places to work, where they get better wages, wages that people in Alabama have never been able to dream of. And when they keep bringing these union elections back to people like Austell Shipyard in my district, the employees say, we don't want it. And Mr. Chairman, I don't think we should make those people pay a dime to a union if they don't want to. Thank you, sir. I yield back.